So I think it's starting small and really asking questions, which I think you're almost getting at, like, I don't even know the questions to ask. Start with the first question. I'd probably ask the person, do you have a brokerage account? Do you have a 401k?
Okay.
Do you have student debt? So if I'm on the other end of that, if someone tells me, I don't even know the questions to ask, I just would start. And that person, the person you're describing, Felicia, is then going to get a sense of who that person is by the questions they ask.
Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we show you how to create passive income so that you have options for how to work and how to live your life while leaving a legacy of positive social impact.
Welcome back to Money with Mission. Today, guys, I have Cammie, daughter, and Sandi Brager from Aspiriant. And I'm going to let them tell you what Aspiriant is. I think we're going to have a good time here. Actually, I know we're going to have a good time. You guys haven't listened to one of these shows and haven't had a good time at some point. Come on now. All right, here we go. Welcome to the show, Cammie and Sandi. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for inviting us. What a treat.
Yeah, this is a pleasure. Thanks, Felicia. And I'm going to let Cammie start the story about Aspiriant and who we are, because she's good at that.
That's what I get to do. I'm the chief marketing officer, so I get to tell our story. So if y'all have a few hours, just kidding. At the highest level, Sandi and I are both business partners, passionate owners of a wealth management firm, one of the largest independent wealth management firms. And so what we do is we help individuals and families, they're business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, inheritors of wealth. We help them manage their financial lives, but really more importantly, we help them achieve their goals. Like we get to have everyday money conversations with our clients and help them with the things they're worried about, the things they're excited about, and of course, the technical side of all the financial decisions that need to be made. And we're nationwide, just a really special business that we've been growing for decades now. And we continue to be committed to staying an independent wealth management firm and being able to focus on one thing, our clients, and really having an intimate relationship with them on the financials of what they do.
Perfect. Do you have anything to add, Sandi?
And we did such a great job there. I will just say that, Felicia, you talk about money with mission, and that's an important part of the work we do at Aspiriant, is really understanding, as Cammie mentioned, what's most important to our clients, what they're trying to achieve, what the mission is for them, for their wealth, for the things that they're trying to do to make the world better. And it is an absolute honor, joy, and pleasure to work with our clients who let us into the most intimate parts of their lives and help them plan for the future of themselves and their families.
Yeah. Okay. The intimate word. When does somebody know they need to talk to a wealth management company or a wealth management person? When do you start doing that?
I think there's no bad time, but often people will reach out to us when they've had some sort of life event. It might be a liquidity event. They sold a business. They have some stock options in a company that they're about to sell, or they've just sold, or stock. There's something that's happened. Maybe they've inherited money.
Okay.
That's usually the impetus for reaching out to Aspiriant. But I said you should reach out anytime. I think that money can be difficult for people. We have our own relationship with money, and we've talked to you about that, Felicia, before. And having our own relationship with money can sometimes cause a lot of emotions to creep in. And emotions, whether they're good emotions or challenging ones, they can get in the way of our making really good money decisions for ourselves. So I think it's really helpful for people to have a third-party objective person or team in place to help them make decisions, whether that's Aspiriant or some other financial advisor. That relationship can be very powerful and can make a world of difference in someone's financial life.
Yeah. You talked about people who come into a lot of money. We also talked, just for full transparency, you guys, we've been talking for about an hour about relationships and money and that kind of stuff. So you're getting some of this stuff now. I don't think I have enough money to go talk to somebody like that, or I know enough about it, or we don't even associate whatever emotion we're having it with our money. It's something else. or we don't even know what that feeling is that's keeping us from doing it. It's just what I do. How do we get into people's minds that having objective person like a therapist talking to about your emotional things help you work through your money stuff?
Felicia, you really hit on something that is troubling at times. Like, why, we talked about this before, why do people think they have to know everything and do everything when it comes to money? And yet we take the team approach in so many other aspects of our life, and we outsource. We don't build our own houses. I mean, maybe you do, but even if you do that, you're bringing in experts and you collaborate. And so I think the more we talk on podcasts, Money with Mission, or the podcast Sandi and I get to host, Money Tales, and we do more and we write and we get it out there to remind people that usually to be better, you need a team and you need folks who are there to support you, and not just at that cataclysmic event. It's really through the ups and downs, the amassing of wealth, the distributing of wealth, the investing, everything.
Yeah.
Having a partner is really, really important. But you raise a really good point. I think we just have to keep talking with people that there's really no shame. You don't have to watch the TV, get some great stock idea, and then go invest. That's not being really good with money. It's knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, seeking information, education, teaming. And again, I think more we talk about it and do the work we're doing today and in other places, write books, the better off and more comfortable people will be in seeking support and assistance.
And I want to add to what Cammie just said, that in the financial world in particular, there's so much jargon that's thrown around, and it's so off-putting for so many people. It's so exclusionary. There are times I'm in the room and I'm like, what did that person just say? I don't know those acronyms.
Yes.
And so I would encourage any of your viewers who are out there who might be feeling a little, uncomfortable and a little less confident than they like around money because they just feel like they don't know the language. That's okay. So many people don't. And a really great financial advisor will help you understand and learn what you need to know in order to make even better decisions for yourself.
And I'm going to make the analogy of your physician, who we have a lingo and a jargon. And when we're talking to each other, we speak one way. When we're talking to a patient, we speak patient speak. And sometimes our words creep in. So you just start saying your thing. And if that patient doesn't stop and say, hey, what does that mean? Or sometimes I've had patients come to me who their other doctor said such and such. And it's like, but I don't understand that. We all have to realize that we have lingo and we need somebody sometimes to interpret that lingo for us. And to me, if that person's not willing to interpret that lingo for you, they're not the person for you. None of us are dumb. None of us are stupid.
That's right.
We can all understand. And to me, when you have your person there to educate you, to help you understand, they should be able to make it so that it's understandable for you. And that's what I say to all my patients. It's like, this isn't rocket science. Yes, I know a lot. I've gone to school a lot, but I can help you to understand what the heck is going on. So that's the big thing for me, is like, we sit out here and we're scared to go because I don't understand those words. I don't know what accredited means. I don't know what syndication means. I don't know what all these things mean. I don't understand the stock market and the S&P. I don't understand. That's okay.
That's right.
That's why you need somebody to help you understand it. And if you have a person who can get there, or you have a person who can't help you understand it, you need another person. That's my full opinion on that.
Lisa had such a good analogy, and it's a reminder of how things have changed. So back in the day, it's the professional and they're the expert, and yours isn't a place to question. And as we've evolved and the world, the information is so much more accessible. That's the beauty, that you can ask these questions. And now the roles have reversed, and it's really our job as practitioners to educate, to make the person feel confident. And through that is understanding. And I love what you just said. If they're not doing that, go find someone else. Maybe start with just, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Will you please explain that? And if it's implied that you're the problem, Let's turn the
take-
tables.
I'll
It's
take
not
care of
you.
If it's
Run.
honey, if it's an I'll take care of you, honey. Yeah, it's time to go.
That's right.
Leave as fast as you can.
Oh my gosh. So, and I believe that part of that, once you start to understand, then your relationship with your person that you're having explained to you opens up, and you're more likely to open up about what your real goals is, your why, and your financial goals are. Because I think a lot of people don't even think about their financial goal. Their goal is to retire, not think about all the things that could happen in between starting your job and retiring.
Or after, right? Because
yes.
usually when someone stops working, they might have decades left of a long, fulfilling life to live. So,
yes.
So you're absolutely right. I think, we could bring in another metaphor here, and it's really just understanding what your destination is. And a great advisor can help you crystallize that and then build a map and help you stay on track to that map. And if you hit traffic, they're going to help you reroute and get through it. But that really is our job. And what's even more important, I think, Felicia, than the financial goals, which are extremely important, is your values as an individual. What's most important to you? Because that's going to really dictate your ability to achieve your goals, because you have to make financial decisions that are aligned with your values. If you don't, you're going to end up feeling sick all the time.
The gut will tell you.
Not in a good relationship. Not in a good relationship.
Right.
That's what
that's
that
right.
is.
That's right.
Wow. I forgot what my question was.
Well, I had one more while you think about it.
Yeah.
With trust also, I know in any of these relationships we're talking about, you then can be vulnerable and you can talk about your fears.
Yes.
And that's so powerful, because a lot of times once you air those fears, then they can be solved or addressed or talked about and alleviated. And that's so powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would add to that list, normalized.
Yeah, normalize
because
it.
when we're not talking about money, oftentimes we're in our heads and we think we're the only one that has this feeling about money or this concern or whatever it is.
Or made that mistake or
When we let it out, we talk to someone else, whether it's an advisor or even a friend, like that can really help us understand we're not alone.
Yes.
People might feel this way.
I find that a lot of people, they want to go to a place. I have this destination in mind, but don't really want to look at where they're starting from. They don't want to look at that. And how does that play in with you guys sometimes when people come in and they're just talking about where they're going without the fear of looking at where they're starting from and the mistakes they've already made? And that can be really kind of hard on you when you really start looking at that.
It can. And what I've noticed, Felicia, working with clients for so many decades, is that it's really helpful to start with strengths.
Okay.
What have you done right? What do you know? Where is your flow in this whole big basket of personal finance?
Okay.
And let's start there and build from that. And we've all made money mistakes. We might not be proud of where we're starting. It might look ugly to us, but everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's really important to, again, start with values, goals, and then start looking at, what assets do I have? And what are my liabilities? What is my income? What are my expenses? How can I start putting these pieces together in a way where all of my wealth is aligned toward what I'm trying to achieve and is beginning to work with me or for me toward that?
And we also hear that what holds people back from starting a conversation is they feel that they're not organized enough, or the fear is, and then what it holds it back is I'm going to get everything in order, and then I'll go meet with an advisor. And funny enough, the advisor's over here. No, that's our job. We're here to help you organize and uncover. But I don't want to show my messy house. So I'm not going to start the conversation until I clean up the house.
Do you find that it's more common in type A personality people who are used to looking perfect on the outside?
Probably.
Or is it kind of across the board?
I think it's hard to generalize on that one. I think everyone has their own financial tile somewhere that they're not proud of. It's more
Like,
common than you might think.
I don't want to step in that. I'll just keep walking around it and maybe it'll go away.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's fun. So, what should a person who's just finishing residency, since most of my audience is physicians, so they've not made money, they mostly are in debt at this point. Those people are coming out of residency with 6-figure debt. So, is that a time to start talking to a wealth management company?
It is. It's a great time because, again, if you're in that position, you're there because you're working towards something that you want to achieve. So you can work with an advisor. And by the way, there's so many different advisors in the world. There are folks that are very full service, like we are at Aspiriant. There are people who will charge by the hour. There are folks who make their money by selling product that you might need. So financial advisors come in a lot of different forms. So don't let that stop you. Just it might take a little bit more time. And the CFP board and the Financial Planning Association are two organizations that can help you find an advisor that's right for you.
What's a CFP?
Yeah, CFP,
A
exactly.
certified financial planner.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
And so I think, at that point, if you're in a lot of debt from school, it's a great time to start thinking about, well, how are you going to manage that debt and still achieve the other things that you want to achieve? Because chances are you're going to want to do other things with your money than just pay off debt. So what's the right sweet spot for you to be able to grow into your profession and achieve some of the other things that you want to achieve while not ignoring the debt, but, continuing to develop a plan for servicing it in a way that's comfortable for you and that makes sense. And certainly paying attention to the interest rate environment is really important when there's debt on the table. And I think people in the last year and a half or so are really becoming present to that, because going from a 0 interest rate environment to a 5.25% Fed rate environment really makes all of us pay attention to interest rates more than we have.
That's different.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah. And it can be, I think it can be a really tricky time when folks have student debt and they're starting to work and have opportunities to generate income. And, it can be hard. Should I be keeping some cash aside for a rainy day when I have these loans outstanding?
Yeah.
What about my retirement plan? Should I be adding to that? There's so many questions that come up. So it's a really beautiful time to start working with someone and having them help you chart a course that's going to work best for what you're trying to accomplish.
I agree. I think so many of the people that I talk to, the women that I talk to have just finished their residency or finished 5 years ago and still have a lot of debt, are just paying off I just got to get this debt paid off and then I can start to live. It's like, no, we got to work through that a different way. And even if we step back even further, someone just starting medical school or just about to start their residency maybe should be talking to financial planners to help manage the debt they're about to get into, to be able to do the things that they ultimately want to do. To me, it seems like it's never too early.
Never too early. Never too early. And what you're even underscoring is the importance of just keep talking. And through that, you learn new tools and opportunities. And I do always love reminding folks, you chip away at it. You don't have to solve this big mountain. You chip away at it. And that's really important. So you get some momentum on what you're trying to accomplish.
That's huge. Because I think so many of us think I've got to take care of it right now. It's got to be done. Yeah.
I think that's one of the, another thing, just to blow more air into the sails of financial advisors. One of the things I think we're really good at doing is helping our clients decide what needs to be tackled right now, what can wait a little while, and what can wait a long time. Because often it's hard when everything's coming at us at once. It's hard to understand and develop priorities.
And when you're even thinking about learning to understand the words of money and you're just learning the words of medicine, then you really would be so amazing if we just knew to have that team. You need your consultants, you need all your people that are on your team and that are helping you get through medical school and residency. And then you got these financial folks over here that are teaching you that language so that you know everything you need to know going on. Let me ask you, do you need the same financial planner when you start residency as you'll need when you're paid off all your debt and you're in a different position? Could that be the same person, or are you going to transition to different people as you go along?
It really just depends. It really depends on like Sandy said, there's all different sorts. So there might be people that you start working with that are really focused on a foundational plan. And that's their business model. And they love doing it. With Aspiriant, we want to serve our clients' kids. Like that's our intention. We want to really work with multiple generations. So it really depends. It depends on your needs and where you are at that time. And, it is a really intimate relationship. So if you can find someone you can grow with, that's probably the most comfortable for you. I think because again, you got to be you're going to talk about stuff that maybe you're embarrassed about or that you're worried about. And if you have to keep starting over, that's disconcerting. So that's another thing. When we built Aspiriant, we want to be around because we know starting over with an advisor is really, really hard. So that's something to consider.
It is hard. And to me, it seems like if there are things that you can't talk about or are worried to talk about with your advisor, might be the thing that tells you might need to get a different advisor.
There you go.
That's right. You really want a good fit. You want to make sure that that your advisor is talking in your meetings just as much as you are, or maybe even less. That's always a good sign. You want to make sure that you check in when you leave a conversation or a meeting with your advisor. What you're feeling. Are you feeling confident and sure of yourself? Are you feeling deflated and tired or just exerted? And if that's the case, well, why is that? Is it the advisor or something else?
Yes. Yes. Can you give the audience some ideas on how to go about finding an advisor?
Sandi alluded to two organizations that do have lists. So the Financial Planning Association, if you go on their website, that's a resource. Sandi, you said the CFP, Certified Financial Planning
Board,
website board has something.
They do. And I would just say when you're looking for a financial advisor, and I'm biased here, so I'm going to be very honest, I do recommend looking for a certified financial planner or a CFP. Those are folks who've gone through, just like when you become a physician, right? There's training, you have to pass a test, you have to have continuing education. I think that's really important. You want to have an advisor that's done the minimum amount to be professionally certified and be well trained to serve you. And I'm not saying that people who are not CFPs aren't great advisors, but I think I would recommend starting with someone who is.
Because you don't go to your primary care doctor to treat your kidney stone or remove your kidney stone.
That's right.
You want somebody who's trained to do that.
Yeah.
And if folks want, we do have on the Aspiriant website, we do have a brief tool, intentionally brief, that are questions for people to consider when they're hiring a firm.
Okay.
We got enough questions. We thought, let's create a resource for people. And so that also might be a nice place for folks to start. Again, it keeps it short, but questions you would want to ask and know the answers to.
Perfect. Because that's where I was going. I was like, do those sites help you know? Because I might not even know what I need or what kind of person I need. Am I going to be shopping for, just go and see if I like their personality, or what specific things am I looking for? But your site can help me to figure that out.
Yeah, we have a tool that they can grab to help. And the questions for your needs. So just making sure you write down, what are you looking for? And that alignment of interest is really important, that someone is in the business to support your needs. I would ask things like, how is the person compensated? Right. And just make sure you understand. Do they make commissions? And if they do, are you okay with that? But at least you know, right? And if you're more comfortable that no. So for firms like Aspiriant, we're registered investment advisors. We are not compensated besides clients pay us money. We intentionally want to be in a situation where there's no commission. So a client isn't scratching their head going, hey, why did they make that recommendation? We want them to know. So you just want to know how the compensation structure is set up. And then you want to know, what are the capabilities of that organization? Do they just invest the assets? Do they do financial planning? What are my needs? Are they able to do tax work? Whatever your needs are, and really being clear. What are you looking for, and how does that firm match up?
There's another concept at play that's really important, and I'm going to say one of those jargony words, but it's the word fiduciary. So I think it's really important to find an advisor who is going to be your fiduciary, who is going to put your interests in front of their own. And that's really important. In the financial services world, there are firms like the Registered Investment Advisors, or RIAs is the acronym that refers to them, that are fiduciaries. They are required to be fiduciaries for clients. Brokerage firms, for example, have a different suitability requirement. They do not have to be fiduciaries. So when you're interviewing financial advisors, in addition to all the things that Cammie was asking about, be sure to ask if they are required to be your fiduciary.
And if they are required to be your fiduciary, is the pay structure usually different than if they're on commission?
It can be different, yeah, because they have to put your interest before theirs. So they can't sell you something where they're going to be paid more if it's not in your best interest.
So you may have to pay them an hourly or upfront fee or some management fee from your own pocket, and they're not taking it out of your invested assets.
Yeah, the compensation structure can vary.
Okay.
But I think what's most important is a fiduciary has to make an investment recommendation that's in the best interest of the client, period.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm being me, and I want to go talk to somebody about my money, and I just don't know who to go to. So I'm going to go on a site and look at some stuff. Do I need tech stuff? I just know that I don't know what's going on. I just know that's what I know.
Let me understand. So you have questions that you want answered.
Yes.
Right?
I listen to this podcast or I listen to something and I know it's like, oh man, I don't know any of this stuff, but I don't know. Do I need that? I don't know. Who do I talk to help get me there?
Yeah, I would say just start, right? So literally just start, get on the Aspiriant site, email us, we'll have a conversation with you. I think it's finding firms like Aspiriant. So you have tools to find different firms if you're looking for different firms, and then start having conversations. That will help uncover what you don't know.
Yes.
And what truly your questions are. I mean, if you're really broad, you really have no clue where to start, that's a place to start. Some of the firms that are the custody assets, like Charles Schwab, have resources. Okay. So I think it's starting small and really asking questions, which I think you're almost getting at, like, I don't even know the questions to ask. Start with the first question. I'd probably ask the person, do you have a brokerage account? Do you have a 401k?
Okay.
Do you have student debt? I might, so if I'm on the other end of that, if someone tells me, I don't even know the questions to ask, I just would start. And that person, the person you're describing, Felicia, is then going to get a sense of who that person is by the questions they ask.
And, there's one other place that you can go to ask or to find advisors that we haven't talked about, and that is your friends and your family and people you know. We always ask our friends, who should I go to get my hair cut? Which doctor should I go see?
Yes.
That's right, Sandy.
Chances are
so
you
true.
know someone who's working with a financial advisor and can tell you about their experience, and might also be a wealth of knowledge when it comes to, well, geez, I don't know what I need. How did you figure out what you need from your financial advisors, from the people that are advising you?
This was really good. It's really good. Okay. So you guys have a podcast called Money Tales. And what was the impetus behind starting that?
Well,
Sandy and I, yeah. You want to start it, Sandy? Say it.
This is pre-pandemic. We ran into each other in the kitchen of our office, and we both said, we have to start a podcast. And then we got really excited about it. We really liked the platform. We were both podcast listeners, and the pandemic unraveled. We happened to live close to each other, so we'd meet up for walks and just talk about what are the key things, what do we think people want to hear from us. And one of the things that we hear all the time from our clients, who are corporate executives, family business owners, and entrepreneurs, is, wow, we're so glad we have you. We can't talk to anyone else in our life about this money topic or that money topic. And as a trusted advisor, Felicia, it feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels so good to hear that.
Yeah.
But Cammie and I are just thinking, well, gosh, I mean, we think we're special, but really we're not. Anyone can talk to anyone about money if we just allowed ourselves to have the conversation, if we could just break out of society's mold in societies, telling us that it's not proper to talk about money. And so that's really how Money Tales was born. And Cammie, I'll let you add anything to that.
That was perfect, Sandy. One of my favorite things is that we said, let's just try 9. Let's do 9 episodes. And really by the third one, we realized at that point, it was just guests. We hadn't even put it out there, who said, wow, these are some really good questions.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. No one's ever asked me this. And it's about your youth and when Money have meeting. And Felicia, you can share with the audience. You've been on Money Tales.
Yeah.
These are just great questions. We should all be opening up and having conversations, because it's not necessarily, what do you get paid or anything like that? I mean, it could, but it's really a lot about how does money impact you, decisions you've made, what have you learned? And it's been amazing. And then our listeners have shared how it's impacted them. And that's so meaningful that they've gotten a lot out of it. And so Sandy and I don't sit there and say, here are 5 things to do,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing. But as a learner, I learned so much more through stories. And a few like takeaways. Here's something, a couple, like we hit on a few takeaways, but I'm more like, oh, wow, that's the sticky stuff for me,
Yep. And that happened to her, and she looks like she's doing so great.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've done that. I haven't told anyone, and she told people on the podcast.
It's like, that's in the world? Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
We all have such rich money stories. We just need to get better at sharing them.
Normalizing money conversations. Normalizing them. It's like, I was telling somebody, it's like, we'll talk about sex so much easier than we'll talk about money. And sex is so intimate. And money is, everybody's got some. So what's the deal?
That, and let's stop everybody from saying, I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
Or I don't like talking about investments. It's only because the way it's been positioned to you, if you feel that way, is because it's not been positioned in a way that resonates with you. But this is life, and it's interesting. And so find your way of absorbing it and finding the interest and the joy in money and investing and savings and debt and all that.
Yep. Have a good relationship with your money. That's what we just need good relationships with our money. Our money loves us.
Healthy.
You guys had a podcast, someone on your podcast, Money Loves Women.
That's right.
And I've heard, go out on a date with your money and sit there with your checkbook and figure out what's going on and do all these kinds of things. Just make it normal for you and love your money, and your money loves you. It is a two-way street. I love it so much. How can people find you guys?
Best spot is probably the Aspiriant website. So it's just aspiriant.com. And otherwise, Cammie and I are both active on LinkedIn.
Okay. We'll have their connection information in the show notes, because I know nobody's sitting there with their pen and writing stuff down. You're doing 15 other things at the same time, but it will be there. I hope you guys realize, and I want to talk to them more about money. I would go and I already did spill my guts about my money story and felt comfortable doing so. It wasn't scary. Nothing bad happened. We have to be able to share our money stories, get them out there so that it stops being that monster in the closet or that thing under the bed, so that we can then look at it and help our money go out and work for us, so that we don't have to work quite so hard if we don't want to. Is there anything I should have asked you that you did not, that you wanted to get out there?
I'll say one thing. Sandy's I get so much from working with Sandy, but one of her things was, when you're reconciling, I'm trying to be more financially on top of things, or, really just like checking in. And the recommendation from Sandy was, if you're reviewing your statements, your credit card statements, not just review and does it all look right, sit back and reflect and make sure your spending is aligned with your values. What's your takeaway when you look at your spending or your savings? And it's that pause, like really hard for me at times to pause in anything. But I love Sandy's reminder to me, just pause, reflect, get an insight or not. And I thought that was a great tip.
I love it. Thank you guys very much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. You guys, check out Aspiriant.com and let's get your money in order. Until next time.
What a pleasure. Thanks, Felicia.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now. where you can have a great financial return while positively affecting the lives of others. To learn more about our opportunities, go to moneywithmission.com.